Okay, so with well, right now it's fire, but with one of the greatest movies in history playing behind me, let us discuss a disaster, not nearly as cool as the movie that I'm watching. You guys all know what movie that is, right? 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 You guys have all seen it. Yeah. Okay. And that's for people who debate about whether or not I should have the TV on. So if you can tear yourself away from Tyler Durden to listen to me, or if my ugly face isn't enough to keep you interested, Tyler Durden will keep you around. Why are you here? I'm just remembering the lines there with um, just the fact you must think he's really messed up at that point. Um, Islanders. There's a happy John Tavares. I watched an Islanders game tonight against Ottawa, and I realized I've discussed what's wrong with Florida. I've discussed what's wrong with Tampa. I haven't discussed what's wrong with the Islanders. See this? They're projected to be fourth in their division. That team that lost that game tonight, I think they're drafting first this year, and they've got some competition. Colorado wants that number one draft pick too. Well, let's put it this way. To insinuate that would insinuate a team is tanking. There is no team that's tanking. They're just really bad. And the Islanders' problems really come in where, let's see, who did they lose this summer? Kyle Okposo, who's having a decent season for Buffalo. Franz Nielsen, who's been a good fill-in for Detroit. Detroit's just not a very good team. Matt Martin, who's shown some fire in Toronto. I don't know if he's worth as much money as they're paying him, but... And then Brian Strait. Brian Strait is not a big deal. No biggie. So who did they add? Andrew Ladd, who during the summer I said they're paying too much money and they're betting on Andrew Ladd being the Andrew Ladd he was 6 years ago, and he's not that guy. And Ladd is simply a disaster right now. 3 goals, I think, so far. He doesn't even make the first page in terms of their scoring. He's got 4 goals in 30 games. Sorry, 4 goals, 7 points in 30 games. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Crazier than the guy right there on that screen. They also added P.A. Parento. Well, he never played for them. So they let him go. And Jason Chimera. And while I like Chimera, Chimera right now has 10 points in 30 games. He's on pace for about 25. This magazine has him for 29 this year, which is good. But they also had Parento at 35, Lee at 37, Bailey at 39. Bailey's going to finish with more than that. Bailey's not having a poor season offensively, but they got Strome with 46. And Strome right now, let me just take a look here. 8 points in 27 games. Ryan Strome has never become what he was supposed to be. I wonder if they even mentioned Strome in here. There's Ryan Strome. He notched 50 points in 2014-15 at the age of 21 before picking up 28 points and spending some time in the American Hockey League last year. How do you account for such a reversal? It's hard to say, but the consensus is that Strome is capable of rebounding with the notable departure of Kyle Okposo. Meaning, well, the Rangers are betting on Ryan Strome filling in for Kyle Okposo, or the Islanders. The Rangers are betting on it too. That's why the Rangers are where they are and the Islanders are where they are. It's just a disaster. And it started with the Islanders' choice to carry 3 fucking goaltenders. I'm sorry. I apologize for the language. I try not to swear anymore. But it is the most baffling. Has there ever been a time where carrying 3 goaltenders was good? Ever? Was it back? I want to say in the early 90s, there was Ed Belfour, Darren Pang, and Jimmy Waite in Chicago. I think that's the closest I've ever seen it come to working. I think it could have been Murray. No, it wasn't Murray Bannerman. Can't have been Murray Bannerman, can it? Oh God, I'm old. But it's just a disaster. And what I don't understand is this. Now Berube was in net tonight. I don't see it. I don't see what Berube has that is so good that the Islanders are like, well, we can't lose this kid on waivers. We can't do that. If Grice and Halak are good enough, and I think Halak's good enough, I think they're destroying Halak is what's going on. then you trade one. You just trade one, and you trade one now rather than wait. I look at Dallas, another team I'm going to do a what's wrong with series on. This was not something I intended to become a series, but it's kind of becoming a series because the train wrecks are far more interesting. Notice I'm not doing a what's right with series because those aren't as much fun as watching train wrecks. I had I had anticipated the Islanders finishing about fourth in their division. I had said they'll probably struggle. They may make it, they may not. It's going to be tough. This has been so much worse than I thought it was going to be. Space Monkey. I'm quoting lines from the movie. I'm sorry. It's just one of my favorites where he smacks the guy on top of the head and says Space Monkey. Oh, yes, bitch tits. Sorry. Sorry. Quoting Fight Club during my video. That's just awful. But where the team is failing is, and I noticed this. Okay, so they've got 6 men on the ice, and who are the 3 defensemen on the ice? Boychuk, okay. Boychuk's got 4 goals, 10 points, 29 games. He's honestly not looking like the old Boychuk. I didn't see Letty on the ice at the time, but I saw Hickey, who's got 6 points in 30 games, and Hamonic, who's got 9 points in 27 games. And Hamonic's plus minus is brutal. And whether you agree with plus minus or not, when your plus minus is way lower than everybody else's, it stands out. So, yeah, this is a disaster. I don't understand why the Islanders don't either trade one of their starting level goaltenders. I don't think Greiss is the starter, anyways. I think Greiss is the guy you get rid of, or just ditch Berube and just say we're going to play these two. And it's like things went stagnant on the island, and they decided, during the summer, and I took some flack for saying it, but I said you can't replace Okposo with Ladd. That's a terrible idea. Ladd is awful. And it's because I watched Ladd his last season in Winnipeg last year, and then after he was traded to Chicago, and I was a person that said, "Oh, Ladd back in Chicago, this is an automatic. He's going to be sensational," and it just didn't click. So when he signed with the Islanders, I thought to myself, "Well, hey, if he couldn't get his shit back together with Chicago, a team where he won a Stanley Cup, what are the odds it's going to work for him on the island?" Where he's joining a team that hasn't won anything in a very, very long time. The Islanders are a team that I want to cheer for. I got 2 jerseys of theirs. This is the ugly one, of course. The pretty one's in the closet. But to me, the ugly one suits this video because, my God, it is mind-numbing to me that the team is as bad as they are. And they had that one run where they had 6 games without a loss in regulation. They were 5-0-1, and they clawed their way back to 500 and looked like they were going to get respectable. And now they've lost 5 in a row again. And it's just everybody. When you watch Tavares in the overtime, if you watch the game tonight between the Islanders and the Senators, Tavares in overtime, when he winds up, goes for a shot, and he misses the net. And it happened twice where he felt like he was in good position to score the goal, and it didn't happen. You just see him. The first time he just looks up, and the second time he just puts his stick up, and, it's just, he is so frustrated right now. And I always sort of said, "Oh, Tavares won't ask to leave the island." I mean, he's a superstar. Superstar players don't ask to be traded, and when their contracts run out, they generally stay in the same place. But maybe Tavares will be the exception. The Islanders need to figure this out, because the other embarrassment of New York is that stadium they play in. And I was showing Yvonne tonight. I said, "Look at it." And between the guard railings in front of the glass, which looks terrible and is really stark and wrong, and it just shows it's a basketball arena turned into a hockey arena. You've got the bloody truck they're giving away every game, sitting there at one end of the ice. You've got all kinds of empty spaces where basketball players come through, and it's all for basketball. This arena never should have been allowed to host NHL hockey games, and I don't think that's the reason that the team's a disaster. But I think the fact that the team is willing to move to that arena shows that the franchise is a disaster. And for all the talk about moving Florida, or move Arizona, or move whatever, the New York Islanders are going nowhere until they either move to Queens, which is the rumor, And you know, they know they can't stay in Barclays. They can't. But whatever they do, they have to do it fast. Because they have to be losing money hand over fist. They just have to be. And when Ottawa scored to make it 5-2, and everybody just gets their jackets on and starts walking out, and you can see it clear as day. Everybody's getting ready to leave the arena with 3.5 minutes left. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So let me know what you think in the comments, where you think the problems are. I think it's everywhere. I don't think there's any one player or any one thing I can look at in New York and say that's where your problem is. I think it's everybody. I think it's everywhere. I think that the New York Islanders need to reinvent themselves, and I'm not sure how they do that. It's been so many times over the last 20 years that this team has just been awful. And this is yet another example. So let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing through, and I will be back with more video goodness soon. And remember, this is Fight Club, people. If you want this, you can buy this on Blu-ray for like $5, $6 maybe. It is one of the most fantastic movies in history. It's just, it was on TV, so I figured, yeah, I'll throw that on in the background. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all again soon.